Hello everyone, my name is TJ Presley. This is my personal video for Module 1 for EDL 856. A little bit about me. I have a bachelor's degree in business from Western Oregon University. After graduating from Western, I spent 10 years in the business world, mostly as a manager in various roles for different Fortune 500 companies. My most recent role before switching into education was as operations manager for Walmart Logistics. After I left the business world, I returned to school to get my MAT from Eastern Oregon University. This is my second year in education. A little extra about me outside of school, I've also been very involved with baseball. Back when I was at Western, I was actually a member of the baseball team there and continued my baseball experience after as a coach. So I have 7 years of high school baseball experience. I'm married. We've been married for 5 years, just hit our 5th anniversary this month. We have two boys, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Our 1-year-old just celebrated his first birthday yesterday, as a matter of fact, and we currently live in Eastern Oregon in a small town called Pendleton. So a little bit about where I work. About 12 miles south of Pendleton is a little town called Pilot Rock. Population is right around 1,000. I work at a place called Pilot Rock Junior Senior High School, which encompasses grades 6 through 12. So there, my two roles, I'm a middle school math teacher. I teach grades 6 through 8, and I'm also the high school athletic director, as well as a junior high. I oversee all sports 6 through 12. At our school, there's approximately 180 students, and that includes grades 6 through 12. From a sports standpoint, in the state of Oregon, we have 6 classifications, 6A being the highest. We are currently a 2A school, and we even have a petition to play down to 8-man football in the 1A ranks. So we're a pretty small school for the state of Oregon. So what's important to me in terms of school community relations? The first thing that comes to mind is transparency. I think it's a real good thing for school districts to be transparent with the public, with parents, boosters, companies, anyone that's around the town or involved with the school. I think it's very important that they understand what's going on inside the building and are kept up to date with things that are going on. The next thing that comes to mind is value. This day and age, with so much information that's out there, whether it's coming through email, social media, or however you're receiving your information, I think it's very important that there's a lot of value that's attached to that. I think of the amount of emails that I get, the amount of information that's out there on social media. We seem to be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and if it doesn't really stand out to me as being important, I feel that it loses that value, and people are just going to simply stop looking and caring. The last thing that I feel is important is pride. I think, especially in a small school like where I'm coming from, having and showing a great sense of pride with your school and sharing that relationship with your families, with those involved, your sponsors and whatnot. I think it's a great idea to show your school pride. So some ideas to improve communication techniques. I threw out some ideas and some things that I've been using with students, administration, and parents. A couple of these are still pretty old school ideas. I still like the face-to-face meetings. If it's something that's really important that needs to be addressed, I do feel the need to have that face-to-face meeting. I think it is important to take time out of our busy days to sit down and have those conversations. Phone calls are also probably next in line as far as the personal touch and depending on how important the issue is. Emails, obviously very common, still use those quite a bit. Our district website seems to have a lot of good information on there. One thing that I've noticed though is I'm not really sure who's in charge of the district website, but the information doesn't really seem to be fresh and up to date all the time. It does get updated here and there, but for the latest news, probably not where you're going to get that information. Meetings, and along with that would be like an open house. As a teacher, I've had several open house opportunities. It's a great way to get people to come in. You'll capture some of the parents or some of the people involved with your school, not all of them, but it's a great way to put a face to a name and establish that rapport and relationship with people in the community. Meetings are good. As an athletic director, one thing that I've done differently this year is have seasonal meetings where if you're a fall sport athlete, all fall sports come in, whether you're in junior high or high school. Same thing with the winter sports and then the spring sports. So it's a good opportunity for me to bring everybody in at one time. We usually fill up the gym, and I get to address several hundred people at one meeting. Social media is something that I also use in my athletic department. Instagram and Facebook are the two that we primarily use. We don't use Twitter. However, I know this day and age, Twitter is pretty popular and a lot of people are using it. Our school district does have a Facebook account that they use here and there. They do a pretty good job getting some information out to the public. Instagram, they're not using. Twitter, they're not using yet, but those are certainly some areas where I think we could improve that communication and capture some of the younger parents that have students in our school district. The last one that I use is some apps. So I particularly use remind.com. I think it's a great app, keeps your private information anonymous, but a good way to reach out to the group, whether that be through text message or maybe an email sent to the parents. But it's an easy, quick way to send out information, and so they get it instantly on their smartphones. Google Classroom is another thing that I use with my math classes. I like to send out messages. All my assignments are on there, and any announcements I need to make can quickly be shared with the parents and students.